Hello, thank you for joining us today. I know it was a bit of a random one, me walking in late and everything else, but we made it. You know what London tubes are like. They either run perfectly or they don't run at all. It's madness. But yeah, thank you for being here. Might as well start as we mean to go on, mightn't we?
Yeah, so I guess like usually we kind of interview people who have had like long careers, older people essentially. Um, but today I thought we'd kind of mix it up and we'd have someone who's just about to start a pretty exciting career. So if you could just like explain like who you are, what you do, and what you're doing really.
Okay, so my name is Josh. I'm 20 years old and I live in Germany and I do music production for about 4 years now. And yeah, I'm looking at make a career out of it. Yeah, that's my goal.
Okay, and like, well, what got you into music, I guess? Is it more just, you kind of got inspired by, you know, school, or how did you sort of get into music?
So I have always been listening a lot to music, since growing up,
Okay.
to be honest, all kind of music, like not only electronic, also rap, hip hop, whatever. But when I started out, I think I got catched by a song like by David Guetta.
Okay. What
I
song
heard
by
the track,
David? Okay.
well, I don't remember. I think it was So Far Away.
Okay. That's
I
Martin
was so
Garrix.
catched,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was so catched
Okay.
by it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
wanted to remake it. So I looked up on YouTube on tutorials, and yeah, I did my best to remake it, and that's how I got into production,
Hmm.
basically.
And is it just production, or do you also like DJ on the side? Because obviously production and DJing are two very different things.
The thing was when I started out, it was the Corona lockdown, so
Oh.
DJing was not really a possibility for me there.
Hmm.
So I started off with production, and I'm still only focusing on production right now. Nobody knows what happens in the future, but I mainly focus on the production side, and songwriting, stuff like that.
And would you
For the
like?
for the uninitiated among us,
Yeah.
because my DJing knowledge is
Oh yeah.
not the best.
Of course.
What is going to sound a really stupid question, but what is the difference between the production of things and DJing of it? Is it kind of like
Well,
building it
I
and then putting
guess.
it out there? Like, what is
Yeah, I
what is
guess
the
we're
difference?
we're in a great position. So yeah, tell us what's the difference between producing and actually DJing?
So there's a huge difference, because producing is like making the music, and DJing is like playing the music in front of a crowd of people. So it's like playing the right music, you know, on a party or something like this. But you always, as a DJ, you play finished music, which is already released and ready to play. But as a producer, you make the music from scratch. That's the big difference.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
yeah,
you're kind of, well, yeah, like you say, you're starting from scratch and building it up, like starting again sometimes, redoing it, changing bits,
Yeah.
going through the whole process.
It's like
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say a good way to explain it would be behind all of the sort of big artists, especially like The Weeknd, for example. There's a guy called Mike Dean who does a lot of his background work. So obviously The Weeknd does sing, right? But he's not behind the computer making all the beats. It's someone else. So they're a producer, and like I don't know, someone like Calvin Harris, for example, who's like insanely famous. He's done a lot of work for other big artists producing, but then when he goes to I don't know like Ibiza or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Miami, then he can DJ the songs he's been making. But what was it that sort of inspired you to do electronic music and not, rap, as you said? Why was it electronic music?
so I told you about the David Guetta song I
Mm.
heard, and I remaked it, and this is how I got into the EDM scene basically. I love working with synths, I love creating sounds, and EDM is the best genre for that. You can design your own sounds,
Mm.
and yeah, that's why I love it.
I mean, I guess with that, because you started in lockdown and you're 20, you said, so I'm assuming when you started in lockdown, you probably were, what, 17, 18?
Probably 17 years.
Yeah. So like, that's pretty young age to kind of
I did not
Yeah,
have I wasn't doing well. I mean, my lockdown was literally nothing. I sat and watched TV about pretty much all day, every day.
Same, yeah.
I think I watched the same show about 4 times over and over again. I didn't really do a lot, kind of thing. What made you then like just kind of start it? Was it just like, okay, I've got all this free time, kind of thing. I might as well just mess about with a few different ideas and a few different things and see what works. Was that pretty much how you started?
Yeah. It's like after the So Far Away sort of inspiration, did you have like a plan or like a sort of vision, like, you know, in 5 years' time I'll be doing this, or, you know, like I'll be signed by a music label, whatever. How does that work?
you know, at the beginning, I didn't have like a clear plan, you know, because I was just starting out, just having fun, you know, experimenting with music and sounds.
Mm.
And then I bought my first software a couple months after. And
Okay.
then really got serious into it. You know, I spent more time producing, spending more money into it. And yeah, and then I started setting my goals, you know, for my own music, how I wanted to sound, how I want to develop my sounds, and of course, also releasing my music then.
Okay.
I think that's the best way to start it sometimes, isn't it? It's just to kind of not
Yes.
kind of going with any kind of background knowledge or anything, or just start and go, oh, we'll see what happens, see where we end up, and just enjoy it for the
Yeah.
ride,
No,
really, isn't it?
yeah.
Just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, and like I'm guessing you started it obviously whilst you were still in school. Like obviously, well, Luke, well, the thing is that I don't know. I honestly don't know much, even though I've learnt German for so long. In Germany, obviously, you have like different sort of years where the school ends, like
Mm.
G8 and G9, I believe, right?
Yes, correct.
So so essentially, so basically, it's like certain states. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. Certain states have different. The sort of school lasts for longer,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that
yeah.
makes sense. Am I right?
Yes, that's
So
right. That's
like,
right.
when did you? So were you sort of studying music related topics, or were like sort of what did you specialize in school, or you know what are you doing currently?
You know, when I started out, school was not really a big thing because, you know, I told you the Corona.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, fair.
you know, there was no school basically. And yeah, then of course, last year I finished school. So it was a bit hard, you know, to make music the last year because I had to really focus on graduating well and learning more stuff for school. And yeah, then from now on, I have done a voluntary year
Okay.
since last year till this year. And I had more time to spend on music on this year. I really developed much, I think. I improved my skills. And yeah, now currently I am doing nothing. And in October, I will start my study at university.
Okay, and what are you studying at university?
I will start social psychology, you know?
Okay. Okay, well, I mean that's pretty interesting. Are you essentially keeping music as like a sort of side
Yes,
hobby for now, and then
as a hobby, exactly.
okay, and I mean I
And you know,
guess
yeah.
what are you looking into doing for your uni sort of thing? Like, is that what interests you to do social psychology?
Yeah, I love working with people, you know, especially with elderly people or with kids, you know, help them with their problems
Hmm.
and, you know, just help them go through difficult phases in their life, you know. And that's why I wanted to do that. And it's the perfect study to do.
To be fair, yeah, I know there are quite a lot of people. I know, especially the people that I know. There's been quite a few that even like start at university doing some course, whatever, and
Yeah,
then they've picked up like DJing or something on the side just to do it over a weekend, and it's kind of
yeah.
that's almost become their primary
Hmm.
thing now, isn't it? They've kind of gone, okay, this is now what I want to do, and it
I
is
mean, yeah, if you're good at it, you can earn money, you know, by the
Yeah.
side, you know.
good
It's
money by the
really
sounds of it. From what I've heard
yeah.
from some people, they can earn decent money on like weekends and things. Like I'm like, how are you affording this? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Oh yeah, I was here this weekend or I was there the other day. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, how do you? So when you kind of you was messing about with it in lockdown and just testing like a few different things out, like how was it before then? When do you actually kind of go, oh okay, maybe I've created something here which I wouldn't mind putting out there, because I think everybody can mess around, you know, building things and doing what they like, but to actually take that next step and go, okay, it's kind of locked in my room now, but
Yeah.
then to release it kind of in inverted commas publicly. What was that kind of time difference like? Was it very quick? Was you like, oh, I like this, let's put it out there, or was there kind of like a bit of hesitation between you putting it out there and just doing it?
You know, it takes a lot of patience for producers or musicians in general, you know, because you can't expect like for that you make great music in a couple of months. That just doesn't work, you know. You have to really continue learning, continue producing and failing. And most of people don't have that patience, you know, so they give up early. But I, you know, always continue working. And I think after 1 year and a couple of months, I had like a really, you know, like solid production skills, and from there on I could make like music on a decent level, I would say.
And what's the
Which is
process behind making a song? Is it fairly like obviously I mean, look, if you gave me, you know, Fruity Loops or whatever, I wouldn't know the first thing to start. So what's the process behind it? Do you sort of seek inspiration from, you know, other songs or artists, or where does the, you know, idea come for a song or a remix or whatever?
you know the song always starts different, you know, from project to project is always a different start and a different, you know, way to go. For example, on my song Oxygen, you know, we started with a vocal I got from another producer,
Mm.
and I built something around it, and then we send it to a vocalist who would re-record the vocals again for us, so we could release it this way. But you know, there's several ways to go when to produce. You know, you could also start with the instrumental and then find a vocal who fits that afterwards. There are many possibilities to start.
You know what amazes me? I found this out the other day, and I might be completely wrong, but it was
Yeah,
something like, oh, what was the song? Public. You know that harder than you think by Public Enemy. You
I
know
don't
where
know
they
that
got
song.
their sample for that song from? It was something like a Dolly Parton song. How that amazes me how you can like sample one thing that's like Dolly Parton, which is
Yeah.
completely one side, and
Yeah.
then flip it and end up with that song. Like, how does that work? I mean, obviously, without going into like the legalities of it, because I think we'd all be out of our depths in that aspect. Like,
Yeah.
but is that kind of from your kind of personal experience? When you hear a song, do you think, oh, I could like, oh, could it work better this way? Could it work better that way? Or is it just kind of luck that like certain things kind of cross over? Like certain aspects of the song cross over and you go, oh, okay, that means I've kind of got to sample that kind of thing. Or is it just like, oh, I like that bit of that song, and I don't know, that bit of that song.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that out and do my own thing with it. How does that work for you when you're doing it? Or is it all just kind of like independent that you've created on your own?
You know, sometimes when I have an idea, you know, I have always a vision of the complete song at the end. But most of the time, to be honest, you know, it's just experimenting and go with the flow, you know. Just work, and see what, you know,
See
see
how,
what
see how
fits,
it ends up.
see
Yeah,
what
yeah,
fits
yeah.
the best. Yeah, yeah.
And I
That's
mean,
most of the time.
yeah, but the thing is that I guess with sampling, you could say like it's pretty. I think it's very common, especially in the electronic
Yeah,
industry, is that I mean, Luke, I don't know if you know, but like a lot of people literally are like they take. I mean, I don't know if you know, but like a lot of sort of the recent songs that
Actually, it wasn't Dolly
who
Parton.
is
It
it?
was Shirley Bassey.
Oh, that's even worse. That's even
Yeah.
worse. There's two very incongruous
So you've gone from Shirley
artists,
Bassey to Public Enemy. Like that's
but
a very, very different artist.
but like yeah, I mean again with Oxygen. I mean, I know that it's sort of inspired by a song by Robin Schultz, who is
yes, yes. We took
arguably
basically
Germany's
the whole
biggest DJ.
vocal. Yeah.
Would like do you when you listen to I guess it's kind of a bit difficult to sort of more like sample new songs, but when you listen to older songs, do you think, oh, I can probably sample this?
Of course, of course. You know, sometimes when I hear a song, you know, I think in a vision I could make a version of it, you know, which sounds like me. Sometimes this happens, you know, but most of the time, what I said is just experimenting, and you cross something that sounds good, and then you take it and go with it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, obviously because you've just you well started recently. I mean, recently is still a few years, I would say.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what's the biggest piece of advice you've received so far? You know, in terms of getting you to where you are today.
The biggest advice is probably not give up, because, you know, You never know what could happen. You know, I know producers who make music for 10, 15 years,
Mm.
and they really make amazing music, which is up there quality wise, you know, but they just don't succeed. But I also know producers who like work for, I don't know, they started like 2 years ago. They have already millions of streams, so
Mm.
just never give up and keep working, you know.
Yeah, I think
That's
especially with kind of today's kind of, this is going to make me sound really old now, but like
You're
with
not
today's like
old.
landscape, it is like
yeah,
you can have
yeah,
one song and you just get like catapulted
Yeah.
into kind of basically just the media, and
Stardom, yeah, fame.
you get like catapulted from one song, and you've got artists that are there like have built it up over time. The catalog is huge.
They're grinding, but
Yeah,
you know,
but you
you
only
probably,
need
you know,
one
yeah,
to
yeah.
pop in it, and that's
yeah.
it's just blown up then, isn't it? It's mad. But like, how many songs? So if you kind of sit down on a, I don't know, a cold, rainy Monday morning, how long do you roughly? Obviously, it's going to change for each song, kind of thing. But how long do you spend on one? Are you kind of a bit perfectionist? Like, do you sit down and think, I've got to get this perfect, or are you like, okay, that's one done, on to the next one, and you kind of not churning them out, but you're kind of wanting to build up your catalog as much as you can, or are you a bit of a perfectionist?
Well, first of all, I don't only make music on rainy days, you know.
Very true.
When
Fair
the
enough.
sun comes out, you know. But I'm, you know, I'm really perfectionist. Do you say it like this?
Yeah, yeah,
Perfectionist?
perfections, yeah.
And I want everything to be perfect, like otherwise I won't release it, you know. So I really spent a lot of time, you know, focusing on details, because at the end, this is what makes a pro stand out from a decent song, I would say, you know,
Mm.
focusing on details and making it perfect, you know. I think this is the way to go if you want to release good music.
And I mean, what again? Like, what sort of? I mean, I'm not. Again, I'm no producer. What like software do you use? Do you use like FL Studio or Ableton? I think
So
is one or.
I use FL Studio, but to be honest, you can use everything you want because at the end it's just a tool.
Mm.
It's about the music that you make, you know. There are producers like Martin Garrix who use FL Studio, you know, Avicii as well.
Mm.
Or for example, Robin Schulz
Mm.
uses Ableton, you know.
Mm.
It doesn't matter to be honest. It's about the music, in my opinion at least.
Okay. That's
Yeah, I
fair.
think, well, like I say, everybody's got to start somewhere. You could give me the best quality recording system in the world, and I wouldn't know what I'm doing. I think sometimes it's better, isn't it, to start with very little
Mm.
Yes, of
and
course, of
have
course.
to build up from there. I mean, I
It's
know
just
it's
nonsense, you know, to spend money
Yeah.
when you just started out, you know.
No.
It's
because
nonsense.
I know it's not music, but when I started running and things, and it's all like, oh yeah, look at all these, two
Trainers and
hundred
stuff.
pound trainers, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can break your marathon record in that. I'm thinking, I can't even run 5K yet. Like, calm down. And it's like you've just got to get out there and do it. You've just kind of
Yeah.
got to start with the low level. I see
Yes.
people come into like where I work, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to buy these shoes," and I'm like, "How far are you running?" And they're going, oh, "I bet I can barely scrape 2K," and I'm like, "You want to drop this amount of money on
Yeah.
these shoes? What? Just no. You need to like slow down
Yeah.
and
Yes,
enjoy
yes,
it for what it is first
okay.
before you start
Pace yourself.
spending money." Yeah.
I think is the phrase.
Like take it step by step, you know, and always set small goals. That's very important.
Exactly, and I mean, I guess obviously you said that you kind of reduced like your sort of focus on music, but how did you balance? Because I mean, like I know it's nowhere near the same amount of effort required, but like I could barely balance writing articles and doing uni work or schoolwork or whatever. But how did you balance doing sort of? So I guess it's your final. So was it sort of the equivalent to so our A levels? So you're like what they call in German, like Abitur? Is it like that?
Abitur, genau.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I
okay.
finished
So
Abitur last year.
okay, so what? How was that like balanced? So basically, it's just A levels. So how was it balancing those two things?
Of course, you know, when I was preparing for Abitur
Hmm.
and writing it, I didn't have any time for music, you know. I was
Yeah.
basically learning all day and night long, you know. I
Hmm.
couldn't make any music during probably 2 or 3 months
Oh
because I
wow.
really had to focus on school. But otherwise, you know, when those phases are over, you can keep a good balance, between school, music, and other stuff you want to do.
Mm.
It's like a good balance. I always find time to make music in a day.
I think that as
You
well,
know?
and sometimes you can use it almost as a bit of an escape from uni and schoolwork, can't you? You can say, okay, I've really like been at the grindstone here with all the uni work. I've been working too much, and I think you need something where you can just almost turn your mind off from all the work, can't you? And I think by the sounds of it, music for you is almost like a bit of an escape, isn't it? You can kind of say like, okay, turn this off. Now I'm just gonna sit here for. How long do you normally spend? Can it vary day to day, like, or do you kind of try and say, okay, I'm gonna do a minimum of an hour at least, or can it be, I don't know, 15 minutes one day or 6 hours the next?
I try to produce at least a bit every day.
That's
Of course,
good.
when I have time, I spend more hours on it on a day, but it really goes with creativity. Sometimes I have days I could write 100 songs, then I would spend probably like 5, 6 hours on making music. But other days, it just didn't click for me, and then I spent like 13 minutes on it.
Yeah, hit your
So
head
you
off,
can force
hit your head off the
creativity.
wall, and go, I'm done for
Yes,
today.
yes, exactly. You can't force creativity. That's it.
Yeah, and I guess what are you sort of on your holidays now? I mean, you start when does Germany start their university? Is it September as well or
October.
October?
Start. So I
That's
have
that's pretty
one
good.
and a half months. Yeah.
That's pretty good. So are you essentially flat out like every day, thinking about music, or do you switch
Right
off?
now, I'm really focusing on music. Right now,
Okay.
100% music, because I have the time.
Yeah, fair. And
To spend it.
and do you switch? Do you ever sort of when you get tired of looking at a screen, thinking of where sort of beats line up? Do you have a switch off from your escape, if that makes sense? Do you have an escape from your escape? Does it get to a certain stage where if you are doing if you are like looking at the track for so long, does it
Of course.
does it get
You
sort of
know,
tiring?
yeah. When you spend hours and hours on one track,
Mm.
it really gets difficult. Because you can't really focus. Your mind is fucked up and
Yeah.
just doesn't work. You need some other things to do. I go for a walk or something like that. I eat something or do some other stuff.
Mm.
Watch some sport, some series,
Okay,
whatever.
that's fine. That's
Yeah, I
good to
think
know.
when you kind of, I think everybody's experienced that when they
Yeah.
focus on something so much, you can't.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like when trying to read a book when you don't want to read.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
becomes letters on a page, doesn't it? It's not words.
Yeah.
You're just like, what does that
Yeah.
mean? What did he say? Let me
Yeah.
get what? You just what kind of you have to know when to call it a day, don't you? You have to know when to leave it, but also don't leave it too long that you
Yes.
forget about it. You've kind
Yeah.
of got to leave it, but also go back to it. But
Yeah.
then if you want to go back to it, it's no different to
It's
it.
the
You're gonna
motivation,
do
I
it.
think. And how do you sort of keep that motivation alive? Is it the sort of incentive that, obviously you do have your sort of studies and your sort of career aspirations and stuff, but is that motivation there because hopefully one day your music will essentially just pay for everything else, if that makes sense?
Yeah, of course, of course. I see my progress. This motivates me really much. When you see when I started, when I listen to the songs back
Yeah.
and compare it with the songs I produce now,
Yeah.
I really see the difference and the progress I made. So
Mm.
this really motivates me, of course, and it's much easier to do something you love,
Yeah.
something you like. It's much easier than to stay motivated. I guess for you run a lot, I heard.
Oh, I would maybe not a lot, but
He does
I
run
dabble a little
lot
bit.
more than me. But yeah,
Must
no.
be the same thing.
Yeah.
You probably love it. So
I thought about it, to be fair, when I went out, when was it? Yesterday.
Mm.
Not yesterday, sorry, the day before that. And I did, not to kind of like blow my own trumpet here, but I did, 13K. And I thought that I was like dying at the end of that. And I remember when I started and it was like, I was getting two kilometers in and being like, I'm dying here.
Yeah.
Like I am so unfit. But like you say, it is, you have to give it time and just let it build
yes.
and build and build. And then I think as well, sometimes you can kind of get a bit in your own head when you look at other people that have become very successful and you go, well, why am I not there yet? Like,
Yeah.
why have I not made it yet?
No, I agree, and the thing is, and the other question I wanted to ask you was, you know, being so young yet, I think what, especially in the electronic music industry, and I think I'm also kind of explaining this to Luke as well, is that when you had someone like Martin Garrix, who at the age of like, I think he made Animals when he was 16 or something like that,
Yeah,
which is
that's
crazy. If
crazy.
you have to imagine that song has 1 billion
Yeah.
views on YouTube, and he's got all of the royalties from that now. So could you just imagine? And that's just one song, and like he is now probably one of the most famous. He's probably in the top 100 most listened to artists in the world,
Yes.
and he's only 27, I think, or 26. So when you see people like him, like when you think of your musical inspirations, are they as young as say Martin Garrix, or are they as David Guetta, who's like, and I think in his 50s or something, like early late 50s?
Living his life in
Yeah,
50.
but like, do you have like musical inspirations, DJs or even other people?
To be honest, I get inspired by a lot of artists, not only on the EDM scene, of course, the big artists like David Guetta, and I love to listen to Medusa. Do you know them?
Yes,
Medusa.
okay, yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Their music is so, so good.
Mm,
By them, I get inspired a lot, but I also, I listen to all kind of music, like also alternative music,
mm.
hip hop, basically everything.
Okay, and I guess, well, the other question is that when did you get interested into, you know, electronic dance music? Because I guess there's a certain stage where everyone sort of gets hooked in. Because for me at least, I got hooked in on what I would regard as the golden era in sort of the early
How
20.
old are you? The gold mirror. What is?
Shush, man.
When I was watching the silver screen, and I was
Well,
watching Gone with the Wind.
It was
What is
like
this?
I was like 10 or something so it was like 2012, 2013,
Okay.
I guess, when sort of during the Avicii era. But when did you start getting into it? Was it in 2017 when you listened to that song by David Guetta, or was it a bit before?
Probably yes, when Robin Schulz, David Guetta, all these guys, when they started out with the big hits, like I remember listening to David Guetta, Robin Schulz all day long on the radio. Every second song was from them, basically, back then, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into them.
And I guess in Germany it's a bit different because, well, at least for me, most of the DJs I know are Dutch. And
Yeah.
what I'm trying to ask is, does the fact that you're obviously in Germany, whereabouts in Germany are you, by the way? Is it, I think you said Cologne last time?
Cologne, correctly.
Yeah.
Cologne.
So I guess, I mean, it's close to Netherlands, I guess, in that direction. But like,
A bit, yeah.
but like,
You still have to drive a couple of hours.
yeah, but
it's still-
you're closer to it than us, basically.
Yes,
I think.
yes.
But like, does it sort of change the way you view it? Because obviously in the Netherlands, like, they're completely crazy about it. All of the DJs are basically all of the big Dutch DJs now. They're all best friends when they were in school, so it's a very big community there. Whereas in Germany, I feel, I don't know about you, I don't know much about the sort of. I know that they're very into their clubs. Like, they've got that massive club in Berlin that you can't get into.
Yes.
It's very like,
Yeah, very like
they have to put like stickers on your phones and stuff. But like, I don't know that many German DJs apart from maybe I can probably count them on one hand. So is it difficult, I guess, where you are currently to sort of get more integrated? Whereas in the Netherlands, they literally have a DJ show like on every street, I reckon. Not to stereotype.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. You have to always separate, between like the big artists and the normal club DJs, because I think like when you look into the Netherlands, they have many famous DJs, but of course in Germany you have a couple famous DJs, but still there are many, many DJs who are not like made it yet or not famous, but they are still doing it. And the club scene here is really big. You mentioned it in Berlin, the techno scene. It's like called techno music.
Yeah.
They have the biggest clubs, Berghain.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So the club scene is really big in Germany, but more underground. Like
Of course.
not like the.
do you want to kind of now, like, obviously, kind of the older you get and the more you kind of get in, ironically, in tune with the kind of groups and different, like, cultures kind of thing, do you then kind of want to transition more and kind of go into more, like, DJing in clubs and like that, or just continue just producing?
Oh, that's a good question. Right now I only focus on producing,
Mm.
but I don't know. Maybe when I start university, I need some money. And to be honest, it's way easier as a DJ to make money as making music. I think, yeah, maybe when I start university, I will go more in depth into this topic. But right now, I'm only focusing on producing.
Yeah, I'll have to come back for part 2.
And where are you going to university? Are you going to university in Cologne or is it elsewhere
Yes,
in
I will.
Germany? Okay.
Perfect.
And is it a club? Is it a very sort of clubby thing? Because I mean, in London at least, like you've got Ministry of Sound, you had Printworks, RIP. They will open again very soon. You have E1, we have Fabric. Can you think of any else in London? That
Well, I
big?
mean, you've got depends how much you're willing to spend to get in
Yeah,
there.
but I mean, like
for
big,
the average
big,
one,
that,
yeah,
like,
yeah, that covers most.
international. Yeah. So, is it the same in Cologne or is it more? Because what I know is I don't know if Boot House is in Germany or
It's in
what.
Cologne.
Yeah. Oh,
Also.
no
Yeah,
way.
it's in
Okay.
Cologne, yes.
So I know. Oh God, I'm really testing my knowledge. World Club Dome, is that in Germany?
Yes, that's in Frankfurt.
Okay.
Frankfurt. Yeah.
Okay, so that's more central Germany, and then I think that's it actually.
Don't look at me. I don't know
I
any
think that's
DJ.
it.
I don't know
I
any
genuinely think that's it. But it's sort of, are you looking to sort of get more well known and out and about in Germany first? Because I know obviously the internet's a powerful tool and everything, but
Yes.
is it more that you're trying to get locally known within Cologne and obviously wider Germany before you kind of focus on global domination, if that makes sense?
I think with my music, it doesn't really matter. I don't care where the people come from,
Yeah.
who listens to my music. It really doesn't matter because, you know. But as a DJ, I think it's probably easier to start locally.
Mm.
As you are already known to your hometown and stuff like this. You have connections there. It's way easier to start over there, locally.
Yeah, you've got to build up. Well, build up
Yeah.
from the bottom really, and you've got
Yeah,
to keep going
literally.
up the ladder.
Exactly.
Have you? I'll tell you. That was what I was going to ask. Have you seen that on? I've been quite addicted to this on YouTube the last couple of weeks. I didn't even know it existed as like a kind of, I guess you'd call it like a subculture on the internet. But where they take like any song, and then they do like AI and put
Yes.
different like, because what was I listening? I listened to one the other day and I thought, how do people come up with all this? It was like Frank Sinatra singing "Smooth Criminal." I was like, what? Have you ever like
Yeah.
have you ever looked into anything like that and had to mess around with stuff like that, or as something completely random and off of center?
Yeah, that's completely crazy. I saw these videos also. I always see them on Instagram and TikTok and stuff like this. There are like many versions of it. And yeah, what can I say? AI is getting more and more into the music, which I personally think it's not a bad thing because, in my opinion, it improves and helps music producers and music makers in general.
Mm.
But I know other people have a different point of view on it. But in my opinion, it only helps.
Yeah, because I think it. Oh well, it didn't start there, but it can kind of be tracked back a bit further to. I kept getting them on Instagram for like weeks. Where it's like they like use the AI voices for the presidents, and they're all playing like Minecraft
Yeah.
or something. It's just like, whose idea was this?
Yeah.
But where, like, what? So you think the AI kind of technology integrating more into music is a good thing
Yeah.
then? Why do you think it's more of a good thing than a negative?
Mostly for small producers or music makers, it's a good thing because you can't be perfect at everything. As a musician, you have to focus on so many aspects: sound design, songwriting, mixing, mastering, and you just can't be perfect on everything. It's just impossible. So you can, for example, let a AI help you to focus on the stuff you are not good at or you just don't like to make it. So you personally can focus on the stuff you like to make or you
Yeah.
are good at. That's why I think it's really helpful, especially for small musicians.
Who owns the song then, though? Do you own the song, or does
Yeah.
the AI own the song? Because if you've done half the work and the AI's done half the work, where
Yeah,
do
I
you
mean,
stand with
of
that?
course, you can't let the AI be part of like make the music. That's just not working in my opinion. But you can like let them help let them help you a bit.
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
stuff
take
that's a bit
take
more,
elements
yeah,
from it and let it
exactly,
help you. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Do the details,
Yeah.
but not create a song. I think that has to be done by a person always.
I think it is kind of weird to look at because obviously I think it's just kind of becoming big and just starting now. Like say, it's kind of being used more of a bit of a joke now at this point, isn't it? Oh yeah, Frank Sinatra singing "Smooth Criminal" or something else as silly as that. But can you see it becoming more kind of, I guess, more kind of dominant in the music industry of just like letting AI run its course on this beat or this whatever, and then you kind of put in what you want, like integrate your kind of personality into then an AI's tune kind of thing? Or do you think at the end of the day it is still the person that's got the creativity and it still relies on the person to make the song or the music itself?
I think right now we are not there yet. The AI is not that strong that it can create really high quality music. I've seen a couple of videos or also tried myself, to work with AI and let them make melodies or chord progressions, and it like doesn't sound good yet. But I think in the future, 10, 20 years, you never know what happens. Maybe they will replace all of us. Who knows?
Don't say that, scares me.
But do you think
Could happen.
it's
Could happen.
yeah, exactly. But do you think it's more I guess that sort of singers that are at risk, because the thing is that with dance music you don't really need to have any words a lot of the time,
Yeah.
but with singers I guess it's their
It's
it's
their
their unique
livelihood,
thing.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like you can someone like, I don't know, like someone like Kanye West for example is completely different to like I don't know,
Literally anybody else.
like Taylor
Yeah.
Swift or whatever. It's like once they have the sort of things, and you've heard all the sort of covers where these AI covers on like TikTok, Instagram, wherever, they sound really similar, and it's like if you close your eyes, and if it was just a little bit more refined, you think, yeah, this is actually that person singing. Do you think it's more them at risk, or you beat producers at risk, where if you guys are providing that foundation underneath the track, then you can probably use AI to give you your vocals, to be fair, right?
Yes, but like you can't release those music, because you don't have the royalty rights.
That's true.
Just impossible to release it. So I don't know about that, but I think it's actually a really helpful tool, for especially small producers who don't have access to good vocals
Mm.
or good singers. They can just let an AI sing their song
Yeah.
and use the vocal. That's what I was talking about.
Mm.
The AI can do the stuff you don't like or you're just not capable of doing.
Yeah, I think it goes back to like you were saying before, where it's kind of good, but you can still kind of tell. I think like
Mm.
I've
Yeah.
seen where they create like they'll do 2 hour like podcasts where the two people that are not there are talking,
Oh yeah.
and it's like there are slight nuances in the way people speak and things, and you
Yeah.
just kind of know it isn't. It's
not real.
close, but you just know it isn't them 100%, is it?
Yeah.
Of
So,
course, of course.
but
It's
then
not there yet.
yeah, like you say, you don't know where. Give it 5, 10 years.
Scary.
Yeah.
Who knows where it's going to reach?
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess, in a weird way, that's kind of, I guess, more interesting for you as well, because if you're coming up through the next 5, 10 years,
Starting
as the AI is growing in the 5, 10 years, you'll probably become more accustomed to using it and almost like paralleling it in your career compared to someone
now.
that's
You'll learn to live with it. I guess.
been in the industry
Yeah.
Yeah.
and grown up already, haven't they?
Of
Yeah.
course, of course.
But
But I think you always have to adapt, especially in music industry, You have to go with the time because it goes so fast, especially right now. You can have a hit song today and no
Mm.
one knows you tomorrow. It's just like that.
that's actually very true.
Yeah,
Sad
yeah,
but true.
Yeah, that's very sad. But
yeah.
again, I mean, like that hit song, would you rather you sort of grind for a few years and obviously progressively get that recognition, or would you rather, I don't know, because on TikTok it's crazy, because if you've
Yeah.
got a song that goes on TikTok, I'm telling you, like some people have bought mansions in LA for one song.
Yes.
It's crazy. Would you rather go viral? Yeah, that's a very good would you rather, I guess. Would you rather have a stable career, build it over time, but it takes you like, I don't know, 10, 15 years, maybe even 20 years, you never know. Or would you have a viral song, earn lots of money and then kind of not like
Sit back and relax.
yeah, not like fall off, but like not have any better songs. I think after that.
100% I would take the, step by step,
Yeah.
because it's just way more better in my opinion. You don't have, you don't get it all from 1 to 0, from 0 to 100,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
I don't think
nobody wants to be a one-hit wonder, do they? Unless you create a Christmas song and then
Oh yeah.
you can be the.
Then you remember forever.
yeah. And in my opinion, everybody can make a TikTok hit. It's easy.
That's actually quite
You
true.
just have to have like a good idea, and that's it. Everybody can do it.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Should we have a go?
you're only a year older than me, but I don't.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Try
Should
it.
we have a go? Should we see if we can create our own TikTok trend?
I think we can try. I'm not. I don't think I'm that good at TikTok. I'll
Have
be
you
honest.
got any ideas? Got any ideas to help us out?
Yeah. Have you got any TikTok?
I can send you my music and you make the
Of course.
dances.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yes, let's go.
That's
Game
a good
plan.
collab. That's a good collab. But I guess. Well, I guess we can kind of look to the future and what's in store for you. Obviously, you're starting university this year. Your first year. So what's the sort of plan? Is it like full steam ahead with the music? Are you releasing anything new coming up? Or obviously I know you've got your song Auction, which came out I believe at the beginning of the year, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And so what's the sort of plan, I guess?
So I have like a new genre coming up.
Okay.
It's more up tempo. I have
Okay.
like 3 or 4 songs which are close to being finished. They are like 80% finished, all of them.
Nice.
And I hope to release all of them this and next year.
Mm.
And it's gonna be very good. You will love them.
Okay. And is it more like a higher BPM thing, or because obviously okay.
Higher BPM, more danceable. You will love it.
Okay.
Ooh, I like the confidence.
That's interesting actually, because obviously like the songs that you've released previously are more, I guess, they're a bit more chill out and a bit more like just vibey, but not like sort of rave type thing, if that makes sense.
Correct.
But are you gonna sort of follow the trend now where, forgive me, Luke, if I use very complicated jargon, but basically over the since the lockdown, correct me if I'm wrong, by the way, since lockdown we've had like a massive trend on TikTok, pretty much because of TikTok. You like house music, but it's called tech house, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but like tech house is probably up there with all the biggest things, and it's like super saturated right now. Are you gonna follow that trend? And like techno as well has recently become crazy popular, by the way. Like, I can't tell you how many people, especially at Tomorrowland, how many people using techno in their sets. Are you going to follow that trend, or are you going to go down a completely different route and do, I don't know, like dubstep, if you wanted to, like.
No. I'm still using like pop vocals, and of course
Okay.
it's a bit more up tempo, and my music definitely will have some techno elements. But I wouldn't say it's completely techno. I always try to give my own touch on it. So you can recognize my own style in every production. That's my ultimate goal, at least. And yeah, I think that's the key. Always go with the trend, but always put your own touch on it.
I was going to say, how difficult is that for you to kind of walk then? Because obviously there will always be different trends, and you kind of want to, I guess, profit as much as you can off an existing trend. But how do you kind of walk that line between not just following all the trends and still doing your own thing? Because you don't want to be like so far over here that you're doing your own thing that nobody's paying any attention, but you don't want to be so far the other way that you're just in the trend so far deep that almost you can't hear you anyway because there's so much around you. So how do you like walk that line between being influenced by it but not just becoming the trend?
I think it's actually very difficult because when there's the trend, you just want to do it. You want to be part of it, and you just have to stay yourself, stay with your productions, but also learn new techniques from time to time. I think like I mentioned, David Guetta is a good example. When you compare his music from like 10 years ago, sounds completely different. He always go with the trend, but he always put his own twist on it. and that's why he is successful for the past 20 years, because he always follows the trend, but also put his own style on it. You know.
Yeah, I guess David Guetta especially because recently, I don't know about you, but like I'm hearing more David Guetta in the last 2 3 years than I have in my entire life. Because the
Yeah.
thing is that especially with David Guetta, I mean, I don't want. It's not a David Guetta fan club, by the way. I'm no means super loyal to him, but I just think that it's crazy that he's probably one of the oldest big names that are
And
still
not only
active.
him, also Tiesto.
Yeah, Tiesto.
Same
Yeah,
thing. Same
yeah,
thing.
exactly. But the thing about David Guetta is, no offense to Tiesto, by the way, but I think
Yeah.
with Tiesto, his music is kind of more made for the radio in the sense that it's not like he's lost the passion and
Yeah. But he,
he's.
Dropping
come on.
controversial
I
lines
know,
over
but he's
here.
I don't doubt it. Look at if you look at his bank account, I wouldn't mind because like he's got like I think it's something crazy like 1 billion streams over the last few years, and like his songs you've heard on the radio like 100 million times already. But with David Guetta, the thing is that he's probably the last pure guy. Maybe I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to like say anything, but um, do you see any other sort of current artists that you think will achieve that in the future, whether it's electronic or not? Do you think? Because I saw a tweet saying that The Weeknd's gonna achieve Michael Jackson status by the end of the decade, and I think that's. I mean,
Well, like I say, it comes down to your view.
yeah,
If you like it, you'll go, yeah, I think he should get there. If you don't,
yeah. So do you see any sort of artists that are currently performing right now that are gonna be GOAT status in the next few years?
Of course, you mentioned The Weeknd and all those, US stars like
Yeah,
Drake, Travis Scott, they they will continue having success, of course. But in my opinion, when you start now, it's nearly impossible, to have a career like this and
mm,
make it like be at this big stage for like 10, 15 years. It's impossible. You can have like a good few years where you have success, but not more. It's just not working anymore, in my opinion.
yeah.
Because music goes so fast. So many releases, so many new musicians through social media and stuff like that.
Mm,
yeah, I read something the other day, and what did it say? It said, if you go, I guess maybe not so much YouTube, but when it comes to like Twitter, Instagram, all that, I can't remember the exact term of it, but it was like you only watch or read things that have been created in the last 24 hours.
really?
Anything after the last 24 hours, you don't really pay that much attention to,
Yeah.
because when you load up Twitter or whatever, you immediately just reload the newest thing, don't you?
Yeah, the algorithm kind of.
And it will send you things that have been created in the last 12 hours, maximum 24.
Mm,
So it's all happening that quickly that anything that doesn't, hit immediately is kind of buried.
yeah.
So I know what you mean when you're coming from like the argument of it's difficult to keep up with the trends anyway, but from your perspective, where you've got to spend the time building the song and like dedicating time to it, to then have to keep up with the trends as well.
Yeah.
It sounds a very difficult thing to do, but then again, if you're enjoying it, you just enjoy it for what it is, don't you? At the end of the day.
True.
Exactly. 100%.
Have you put more attention to sort of social media in that sense to get your music out there? Like, have you got like a TikTok and stuff? Because obviously I follow you on Instagram, but is it more? Do you sort of try and push it out on other social media platforms where you can get like reach and stuff, or?
Or to be honest, not yet, but I'm currently planning like a social media marketing strategy.
Okay.
And I hope I will do that. I can start with that with my new releases.
Okay. Well, that'll be interesting, won't it?
So go on then, for anybody else who's listening, who are you kind of paying attention to now? Is there who are you like listening to now that you're thinking, these are decent at the minute? Have you found anybody new recently, or?
What's your sort of
I
thing?
think one name is who's really big right now, and I think he's doing really good music, is Fred again. Do you know him?
Yeah, Fred again. He is. I think in the
Fred
UK he is blowing up. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh yeah, I've heard.
Fred again is like. I think he is a genius. I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people think he's just like I don't know if you've seen the videos of him in. So there's this thing called Boiler Room.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
they actually did one right next, literally down the road from me the other day. Boiler Room, fun fact. Um, Fred again did this Boiler Room set in London. I don't know where it's, Croydon or wherever, and that has few million views at least. And it's the
Yeah,
music that he played from there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like insane. It's almost like I can't liken it to anything in electronic music. He is a genius. And recently he went to Coachella, the final sort of act. It was for Frank Ocean, I think. I'm not.
yeah,
I don't know. It got cancelled. He just didn't turn up. So
Fair enough.
instead, Skrillex took over this huge, like massive, like arena with like Skrillex. By the way, Skrillex has made a comeback. Like I still think of Skrillex as that guy with the funny hair and the piercings and everything. He's completely changed. He's proper like different, complete 180, and he's brought this like British guy who's got a funny accent, and he's just come there and absolutely killed it. And like Fred again is pretty, yeah. I don't know. I think he's one of the future goats. But
yeah.
what is it
Yeah,
about Fred again that you like? Is it the sort of his his way that he creates music, or
it's just so unique, just so unique. When you hear a song from him,
hmm.
you just know it's him. That's what I like about him.
And I guess it's
His music is so good, so unique,
yeah,
and I just love it.
yeah. I
In my
guess it's
opinion,
more refreshing
yeah,
now,
yeah,
right? Because you hear the same sort of stuff every day,
Mm.
honestly.
yeah.
But so have you got any other sort of artists that you've got on your radar?
As I told you, Medusa,
Yes.
I love their work. All of the songs are so, so good.
Hmm. Okay.
I just love them. Their vocals, their melodies, so incredibly good.
I think they're popping off as well on their social media as well,
Yes,
and TikTok.
yeah.
What would you sort of say about the sort of popular American DJs like I think I'm revealing my bias here, but I don't like them at all. But people like Marshmello, I'm trying to think of others like the Chainsmokers, people like that. Do you view them as proper DJs? Because I used to think that about Zed, but I think he's actually amazing right now. Do you think that sort of the fake DJs? I mean, like Paris Hilton, by the way, is a massive DJ apparently. I don't know if you knew that. Paris Hilton is like one.
Yeah.
She can do whatever she wants, can't
Oh
she?
yeah, she's got the money to.
Yeah, she's got the money to do it. Everyone, and there'll be someone that will be, yeah, you're doing
Yeah.
brilliantly. Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal is a DJ now.
But Shaquille O'Neal can do
Shaquille
whatever he
O'Neal
wants.
does what he wants as well. But I think Idris Elba as well. I believe Idris Elba made a song with Fatboy Slim the other day. Crazy.
Fair enough.
It's crazy, no? So do you think
Yeah.
there are like fake DJs? Like, are there any fake DJs that you don't like, or what's your opinion on them? I guess they just press a button and press play.
I think nowadays everyone can be DJ.
Yeah.
It's so easy, basically. You can just press play and you're basically a DJ. But of course, when it comes to skill and mixing also songs, mixing them together, there are only like, I would say like probably 1% of all DJs who can really do that. And I think for like Marshmello and the Shane Smokers,
Mm.
they are not really DJs. They just use it to perform their music.
Mm.
In my opinion, they are more music makers, but they just have to use the DJing to perform their music
That's fair.
because they don't know how to do it else. Yes.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were saying before, wasn't it, with the whole like AI thing where, no fault of her own, but Paris Hilton can kind of have a go at DJing, whatever. But at the end of the day, there's kind of no creativity in playing it. There's no kind of sit down, working hard and starting from nothing to create something that you want to put out there. She's just got the opportunity to do whatever she wants. So there's
Yes.
kind of, she's not really that invested in it because,
Yeah, I don't think she relies on it for an income. Let's be honest.
no.
I don't think many of these other guys do, but I think especially in someone like in your case, obviously if it becomes a full-time career, you will depend on it. So
Of course.
is it now that obviously we've come out of COVID and more than ever everyone's going, I think it's like record attendances at every festival. I think Glastonbury this year was crazy packed. Like, are you sort of gonna go to more festivals, not as a DJ obviously, like right now, but like in the future or like in the near future, are you sort of looking to go to any festivals in and around Europe and stuff, or
Not anything planned yet, but you never know what happens. I would love to go to Tomorrowland, of course,
okay?
but it's difficult.
That won't be too far away from you, right? How far is it?
You know, about money and tickets.
Oh yeah,
That's the problem. Yeah.
fair. It is very expensive.
Very expensive.
It's very expensive. But like, well, I guess let's think ahead. What would be your dream festival to perform at, bar Tomorrowland? Because I think that's every DJ's like dream. After Tomorrowland, what is your goal, dream place to perform at? Because I think in Germany you have quite a few,
Yeah.
but like you obviously have your ultras and stuff. Where would you say it is for you?
Of course, there are a couple ones, you know, especially in Germany. I would like to perform at Perukaville. Do you know it?
Yeah, of course.
Near my hometown.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, I really love it, and of course, World Club Dom. You know,
Yeah.
also big festival. I would love to perform there, and of course, Ultra. You know, in my opinion, the best.
Ultra Miami or?
Yeah, Ultra Miami.
Okay. Yeah, because Miami's where the big guns come out.
The way to do.
Well, I guess, and is there anything else you want to sort of promote right now that you're sort of currently doing or on your socials and stuff?
Yeah, just listen to my song Oxygen, you know,
Okay.
which I put out a couple months ago, and new music is coming soon.
Okay, we'll link that in the bio and stuff.
Yeah, so I guess if you want, just kind of plug where can people find you. You got like Twitter, Instagram,
Yeah.
what's all that?
Where can we find you on Instagram? What's your at?
My ad is Mr. Duck Music.
Cool.
You can find me on there, and of course Spotify. You know.
Yeah,
Of course. We'll link that all in the description anyway. But
Okay, thank you.
I think unless
No, I think I know I come in with very little knowledge.
No,
I'm going to
but
be honest,
I
but I
think
feel
we've
like I've
walked
learned quite
away-
a bit.
Yeah,
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 so yeah, and then obviously when you make it big and don't forget about us,
Remember
you know
us.
what I mean.
I will. I will come back one day.
Of course.
Come back for part 2 when
Yeah.
you've got a bigger bank account than Paris Hilton.
But
Promise.
yeah, no, thank you so much for giving your time. And hopefully, yeah, we'll catch you on a festival somewhere.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah.
Cool.
See you
Thank you.
soon.
Thank you.